Hello and welcome to the Hunters Entertainment Twitch channel. So glad to have you here for today's playthrough of Alice is Missing. This is an amazing game. I really hope that you enjoy watching us all emotionally fall apart tonight. It's going to be a great time. I will be your moderator today. My name is Jules Waller. I use she, they pronouns. And I will also be playing Charlie Barnes, who uses she, her pronouns. And how about let's go around the table and everyone introduce themselves. Let's start with you, Zin.
Hello, my name is Sin. You may have seen me elsewhere on this channel usually. Tonight I am playing Julia North, and both of us use she, her pronouns.
Let's go with Anne.
Hi everybody, my name is Anne Pierce, she, her pronouns, and today I will be playing Dakota Travis, also she, her.
How about you, Adrian?
Hey everyone, I'm Adrian Bear and I use he, him pronouns. And this evening I'll be playing Jack Briarwood, who also uses he, him pronouns.
And Alex.
Hey everybody, I'm Alex Hillman. You probably recognize me from around the Hunters channel here. I use he, him pronouns, and tonight I will be playing Evan Hollowell, and that is also he, him pronouns.
So we're just going to jump right into character creation and setup. So if everybody here could jump over to Roll20, you should be seeing a screen with an intro card and a missing person poster. I am going to read out that. One moment, read out that intro card for us. Card. Okay. Silent Falls is a small coastal forest town in the heart of Northern California. It's quiet here, and since the recession a few years ago, people are not as friendly as they used to be. It's been a rough few years for everyone. The major high school in town, Franklin Academy, lies nestled in the wooded hills on the east side. It's the last day before winter break, and students shuffle down the hallways, dusting off a light powder of snow from their jackets. It's cold today. Down the main corridor, past the Barron trophy case and peeling Franklin Academy decal plastered on the wall, hangs a bulletin board. A cluster of students are gathered at it, and around the edges we see old posters for student body elections, sign-ups for football next year, and reminders about the upcoming senior ball littered about like mousetraps. But as the students part, we land on the flyer they were all huddling around. And this right here is our Alice for this game of Alice is Missing. So everybody take a good look at her and get a decent idea of the Alice we're playing with. The way that this game works is that Alice is not a player character. We're all going to be creating Alice together as a group. Without further ado, let's move on to character creation. So switching over screens to character creation. Here we have the cards for our 5 characters today. We've got Julia North, Jack Briarwood, Evan Hollowell, Dakota Travis, and Charlie Barnes. So everyone we've already, as we established, everyone knows what character they're playing. If you could go ahead and take your character card by right-clicking, or if you're on a map, 2-finger clicking on that card and clicking take card, it will go into your hand, which is down at the bottom of the screen. Okay, and then also if you could take the drive card, which is the fire card that is beneath where your card was, so we don't accidentally have 2 people take the same card. Wonderful. Okay, so I will go first as far as character introductions. So Charlie Barnes is the one who moved away. These characters come with a little one-line description. Other than that, as players, we have full agency to create these characters, to give them personality and relationships. So Charlie is a nature-y kid. She loves hiking, she loves nature and just being outdoors. You can probably typically see her in very, in greens and beiges and browns. that kind of kid you might see in high school that just kind of almost looks like they don't belong, like they're meant to be outside camping somewhere. And Charlie has known Alice since they were really young, and they have a bit of a romantic history, but ended on good terms. They were sort of each other's first kind of relationship, and when they were exploring their sexualities and who they were as people. So they've kind of got a close bond because of that relationship that they had that ended amicably. And I have a background question on this card that will help us, each of us have a background question to help us sort of flesh out who Alice is. So my background question is, what kind of teenager is Alice? Alice is a pretty popular kid. She's but not popular in the sort of cliquish, climb your way up by knocking other people down kind of way. Alice is more friends with everybody. And she is a star and co-captain on the basketball team. So that is where she spends a lot of her time outside of class. She's a pretty good student, but you wouldn't think of her as the academic kid. You would think of her as the basketball player. So that is my background for Alice. For those of you who are watching, just so you know, these cards also have prompts for a secret. So each of us as characters are going to have a secret that hopefully will come out through gameplay. For the players, just a heads up, you can use that prompt or you can come up with the secret all your own. And also a voicemail prompt, which we've already recorded our voicemails and they will come into play post-game. So who would like to go first in telling us about their character?
I don't mind going first if nobody has an objection.
Go for it.
All right. So I'm Jack. I'm Alice's older brother, and we're not actually like biologically related. We were both adopted pretty young. So I'm not that much older than Alice, actually. I'm about 6 months older, so we ended up at the same grade. But we've always had each other's back and sort of taken care of each other ever since the orphanage. And, we happened to be lucky enough to be adopted by a pretty nice family. Jack himself is kind of an overachiever in many ways. Jack wants to try and be perfect at many things. He is on the football team. He is also on the track and field team. He is a straight A student. He is tutoring kids. And due to the nature of Alice and Jack's parents, who, they just call mom and dad because there is definitely a strong love there, and they've been with them for many, many years now. They are actually kind of a very straight-laced, sort of strict Catholic family. They're pretty kind to everyone as far as things go, and they're not like overtly mean to everyone, to anyone, because of the nature of their personal beliefs or anything like that. But Jack and Alice have always felt this need to really put on this strong face of, we're good Catholic kids too. So at the end of the day, that can be pretty taxing because, Jack and Alice have ended up needing to cover for each other on multiple occasions for multiple different things. Jack and Alice have definitely attended various Catholic summer camps over the years, and Jack himself, I've got a pretty good voice, so I'm actually in the church choir, and I'm like a youth counselor. But the thing about me is that I actually don't really believe anything that my parents believe at all. My friends know, and my sister knows that the secret is that my parents would probably freak out that I'm a practicing pagan. But, it's one of those things. I've tried to like interact with Alice about like faith and stuff as far as things go. And we've got a close relationship, but when it comes to that topic, she always sort of brushes things off. So one of my background questions, which I wanted us to tell you about, is tell us why Alice and my home life has been so difficult these past few years. And essentially, a lot of it just comes down to the fact that we both feel this immense pressure to, even though nothing has been overtly said by our parents, they're such devout Christian people. We really don't want to let them down in any sense of the word. So I push myself to extremes to just be this perfect kid. And I know Alice tends to hide a lot of things by herself as well. And occasionally, Alice has her own ways of coping, but occasionally I ask Alice to cover for me and I disappear for a day or two and just go out into the woods by myself and just camp out by myself. It happens probably like almost monthly, but but it's one of those things where yeah, that can be pretty difficult sometimes. It got especially dicey a few weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, out of the blue. At least according to my parents, I was actually suspended from school for a week. I got into a fight. Alice covered for me and did a very good job of it. And I'll get into some of the reasonings a bit later. It was the first time anything in my life like that has happened. So right now it's been kind of like almost over caring helicopter parenting because the folks just don't know what the hell is up. So that's been pretty stressful lately.
Juicy, I like it. A lot of good conflict there that we can get into during game. So who wants to go next?
Yeah, I can go next. So I'm playing Evan Hollowell. Evan was one of like the really quiet kids in school. He's always kind of seen himself as one of those that just kind of fades away into the mass of the crowd, and it's very easy for him to be overlooked. He's not quite sure if he likes that or not. He's still trying to kind of understand that about himself. But he does actually still have some friends. That's mostly due to Alice's persistence. So his relationship with Alice is really what kind of branches him out into the social world. He does pretty good in school, but like again, nothing outstanding to get him any kind of notice. He kind of falls just into the middle of that bell curve. So far, like his biggest accomplishment would actually have been starting up a creative writing club at the high school, and a piece that he and Alice co-wrote actually got into a regional competition and made it pretty far along. They didn't end up winning, but they did get a bit of recognition from that, and that did bring him some recognition as well that he wasn't used to necessarily, because he's kind of always seen himself as that person that just fades into the background. At this point, through his relationship with Alice, he's kind of started falling for her a little bit. At this point, he hasn't really acted on any of those feelings, even so far as to even tell her about how he feels. At this point, he's really just kind of pining from afar and doing whatever he can to try to position himself into situations where he'll be able to spend time with Alice and hang out with her. So that's kind of Evan's situation here. Then on the cards that we got for his background, it has tell us what rumor you've heard about Alice that you don't believe is true. So I think for that, with everything that's been going on right now, I think there's a rumor going around that Alice is planning on potentially running away, and trying to kind of get out of her family situation, and that she's gotten to a point where she feels it's that bad at home. So there's been like quiet little whispers going on around town, but Evan doesn't really necessarily believe that that's true per se. He knows that it's not like the best family situation that's going on, but he also knows that it isn't the worst situation. And Alice has never really seemed to indicate, at least to him in any way, that that would be the case, that she would want to be getting out. And then, of course, I do have a secret and a voicemail that were done. But
Awesome. Next up.
I'll go. So as we mentioned earlier, I'm playing Julia tonight. Julia is Alice's secret girlfriend. That this is literally what it says. But Julia is a very quiet person as well. Mainly prefers to hide out in the library, generally prefers the company of books to actual people. Gets good grades, always happy to help out friends. She is an amateur photographer, does stuff for the yearbook committee, runs an Instagram that's mostly nature-based pictures. Half of the Instagram is pictures of her cat. My background question is, tell us about when you and Alice first met. So they met while Julia was doing yearbook photos for the basketball team stuff. So action shots, group posed, group team group pictures, so on and so forth. And Alice was both kind, which is unusual, and curious, which is even more unusual. And basically continue to just drag Julia into more social events, to everybody else's great surprise, including Julia's. And eventually they ended up getting together, but keeping it very, very quiet because of Alice's adoptive parents. So they have tried not to let anybody know.
Always fun. Julia was my first ever character to play in this game, and so she has a special place in my heart. And last up, Anne, tell us about Dakota.
Hey guys, I'm Dakota. I am the captain of the basketball team. Basketball is life. Go Falcons. I know Alice. She's my best friend. Alice and I have been best friends for years on the basketball team. We have worked up the ranks together, and now we lead this team. We're going to lead them to victory at the Nationals. You know, what I love about Alice, I mean, other people tends to rub them the wrong way, but Alice is like brutally honest. And that's why I love her as my co-captain. She will tell me how it is. We'll work together. She'll tell other players how it is. And it kind of rubs people the wrong way, but we're a better team because of it. And I trust her, man. You got to trust your co-captain. You got to trust the other people on your team. And we are the best team out there. Falcons!
It's so funny because I've been an athlete my whole life and I have met this person multiple times. So now that we've all got our character descriptions out, we also drew these fire cards that you will see. These are our motive and relationship cards. So everyone if you click on down at the bottom of the screen into your hand, and click on that fire card, it will be big enough that you will be able to read it. So take a moment to read the motive to yourself. That is not something you're going to share. Just read that to yourself real quick. So that will help motivate what you are trying to do and how you are acting as a character when we get into the actual gameplay a bit later. The other thing, one of the most fun parts of this game, the other thing on this card is 2 relationship little lines. So, for example, one of mine is, we've never really gotten along. And I am going to give that relationship card, that relationship line to, I think, Dakota. I think that Dakota is like, I am, like, Charlie is kind of chill in a way that, like, all naturey and kind of out there and, you know, being the one with the universe in a way that Dakota very much clashes with her sort of focus and sports energy and this is what matters kind of attitude. So I think we've never really gotten along. So the way that these relationships work is you're going to, like I have done, assign that line to someone else. And these can be one directional. So I just said that that Dakota and I have never really gotten along. That is from Charlie's perspective. Dakota might think that we're super close and awesome best friends. Obviously not best friends because that's Alice, but that we are super close and have no problem with each other. That depends on how Anne decides to play it. So these are one directional. You don't have to agree if the person gives you a relationship. So who wants to throw a relationship out?
I'll jump in. I've been thinking about it a little. Okay, so I have two. We all have two, but my first one is you've always been there for me. I would like to put this to, I would say Jack. They're both overachievers in an academic sense and have that kind of quiet, buckle down, get all A's kind of mentality. And as far as the second one goes, the second one is Alice has forgiven you for something, but I haven't. I'm putting this one to Dakota. Presumably you two had some kind of a fight or disagreement about something about how the team should be run or whatever, I don't know. But it upset Alice. She tried not to show you, and she eventually did forgive you, but Julia remembers this.
Sounds good. Juicy. Always good to get those disagreements and discords in now, because they're so much fun when they play out later. So who wants to jump in?
Sure. So one of them that I have here is we used to be best friends. And I think that I probably apply that to to Charlie. So I don't see Evan as having a ton of really, really close friends. And I kind of just, in general, as a player, I kind of like the dynamic of one of the people that was closest to Evan is also one of the people that has gone away from Silent Falls now. And then other than that, I have, a secret about me that I don't want to get out. I will throw that on Jack, and I'll even go so far as to say that Jack can come up with whatever the secret is. I am intrigued to find out what that might be.
You guys can message each other privately if you would like to figure that out between each other, or you can just let it play out in the game.
Yeah.
So whatever
right.
you guys.
I'll send you a message there, Alec.
I can go ahead and jump in and do my other relationship, which is I know how you really feel about Alice. And I am going to give this one to Julia in a kind of ironic way, in that I think that Julia has a crush on Alice. And I think that this is a juicy secret. And I don't realize that they're in a relationship together. If that works for you, Zin, it seems like you want this to really be on the down low. So especially as someone who's been away, I think that, like, I occasionally text with you and with Alice, and you guys mention each other enough that I'm like, ooh, Julia has a crush on Alice, but I don't realize that it's reciprocated or relationship.
I like it. Let's do it.
Who's got relationships left?
I do, but Anne does as well. Anne, do you want to go first? I think you might be muted, Anne.
Yep, hit the button in reverse. I love that. So my first one is, I know that you don't care about Alice as much as I do. And Charlie, you're part of the past. I'm Alice's best friend right now. I know more about her than you do. So, I mean, it's great that you guys have that connection, whatever, but yeah, I think you've kind of moved on, honestly. You moved away and whatever, so she's kind of my best friend now.
We'll see about that.
And my second one is, I'm protective of you. And I'm going to put that on Jack. It's almost like you and Alice are like twins in a way, right? And you cover for Alice and Alice covers for you. And I'm not going to say there were a couple times I corroborated a fishy, not so great story that she was, trying to use to cover for you. And I corroborated it and, I did my best. But because of her close relationship with you, I feel kind of the same way because it's important to her. So yeah, I'm there for you, bro. I got you.
That's lovely. All right. So what did I get? I got, I don't think you like me, and I've always wanted you to be my friend. So I feel like when Charlie moved away, it was probably during like those very early teen years where I was just like super awkward about the fact that I just got all tall and lanky out of nowhere. And then I just wanted to like really push myself into the sports and the athleticism. And I don't know, the way that you react to that made me think like, he's becoming such a douchebag. So from my point of view, I don't really think that Charlie really likes me. Because maybe his mindset's based on like, from Jack's perspective, her mindset is based on this past self where, sure, he was, just turning like 13 or 14, still getting used to all the raging hormones and stuff. Maybe he was a bit of a douchebag, sure, but I mean, you can't hold that against me for my whole life. It's fine. And then the second one I've got is, I've always wanted you to be my friend. So I feel like, I'm going to give that to Evan because I feel like myself and Evan, we interact and we talk about some things, and occasionally like we hang out, but it's always felt to me like this sort of like ephemeral cloud effect that sort of happens and then disappears and comes back. And I've never really shown it, but I've always been super interested in the conversations and things we have. So I've always wanted like more of a friendship, but it's just the way that things have played out and the fact that my schedule is so damn busy, self-imposed, that it just never happens. It never really happens that way. But like, yeah, I've always wanted us to be closer friends. I could rephrase that.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think that that lines up well.
Sounds good. That's everybody, right? Everybody's handed out both relationships. Awesome. Now we are going to move over to the starting hunches page. So you will see here on Roll20, we have 5 locations and 5 suspects in the disappearance of Alice. How this is going to work is we are each going to talk about one of these places and one of these suspects and take this as an opportunity to sort of work together to build up Silent Falls. And what it is as a little town, and also lay some of the seeds for later when we're trying to figure out what happened to Alice. So, for example, I or I'll read them off first. So first, let's do locations. The locations are the Lighthouse on the Howling Sea Cliffs, the Dripping Dagger nightclub, the Old Barn on Cambridge Street, Callisto River State Park, and the Silent Falls train station. So I am going to go ahead and take the Silent Falls train station. What we're going to do here is we're going to take the cards by, again, right-clicking or two-finger clicking on them and clicking Take Card, just so that we have kept track of which cards have been discussed and which haven't. So the Silent Falls train station is not an operating train station anymore. It is a more of a, it's an old sort of starting to fall apart building. And it is a go-to hangout for the teens. But it's also, there are a lot of rumors about it being a place where sort of illicit activities happen, where there's, a lot of people will find beer bottles, and a lot of people suspect that worse happens, that there's it might be a hub of drug trade and that kind of thing. And the reason why I suspect this place in Alice's disappearance is that Alice is, she's definitely one to try to find places to be on her own, especially lately with the home situation sort of getting tense, and with basketball being pretty high pressure. And nobody really hangs out at the train station during the day. It's a nighttime hangout spot. So she has been known to go there during the day. And she's been texting me from there and texting me like pictures of the view from it and kind of stuff lately, which is a little bit odd for her. But I'm suspicious because she's definitely been there and focusing on that place a lot more recently, as far as I'm concerned. So who wants to grab a card?
If no one objects, I'd like to take the Dripping Dagger.
Go for it.
Try to take it. Take card. I will take it. Yeah, so the Dripping Dagger nightclub is a place where the college football and college sports guys and girls, they all hang out there. So it's kind of a college joint. And, Alice and I were being scoped out by a couple of college recruiters, and they've brought some of the players over, and they're, trying to woo us a little bit. And we've gotten to know some of these people. So we're getting invites to come and hang out and stuff. So, sometimes we go over there, and sometimes these players get a little rowdy, right? We got to blow some steam. So, maybe the nightclub isn't the best place to be alone. And I'm kind of worried that maybe Alice got invited by somebody and didn't tell us, or, went by herself. Maybe she forgot something, went back. I don't know. I just know that I wouldn't go by myself, because those are older kids, and it's cool. It's fun. But, honestly, it's a little scary.
Sounds good. I think that works pretty well.
Sorry, Shane.
No, you go ahead first.
Oh, thank you. Would anyone mind if I pick up Ryan Grogan's?
I think we're doing locations right now.
We're doing locations first. Okay, sweet. I'm gonna go for the Old Barn, if that's okay. So let me take that quick. The Old Barn is the thing is that it is old, it's run down, which is true. But one of the nice things about it is that it's become sort of like an informal study joint for the seniors. We kind of go there. We've been making sure that it's not like super run down. We have kind of made it like a bit of a community project as well. We make sure that there's like decent hay and stuff there, so we can just chill out. And it's it's a nice place where we can come, where we don't necessarily have to spend money at a coffee shop or anything like that. And it's kind of a nice place. But one of the reasons why I sort of suspect that maybe the it could be related to Alice's disappearance is that well, there are sort of rumors as well that the place is not really safe at night. There are some urban legends that go around about sort of like, honestly, cult-like activities within the woods, and things have been sort of spotted around the barn at night. I mean, when we're there during the daytime, nobody ever really stays at night because it is pretty secluded as far as it's out there. But during the daytime, it seems really nice and really relaxing. But no one goes there at night. But Alice is a bit of a, shall we say, she's kind of like, her secret obsession is like cryptoids and things like that. So you know, she says that she's been out there once or twice at night. She's told me privately, because she wants to see if the whole cult rumors are true. I mean, we've never seen anything, but she'd like to know. So that's why I sort of suspect maybe she was there. I'm not sure.
Sounds good. I like it. I like the other side of Alice that we're getting to see.
If no one objects, I'd like to scoop up the lighthouse.
Absolutely.
So the lighthouse is a little ways out of town, not too far if you're a determined teenager. It is, generally speaking, very quiet. There's an automated light system, so there's really nobody up there. But there's been rumors, urban legends, possibly true, don't know, of something mysterious happening to the former lighthouse keepers. Possibly that they were so isolated that they leaped off the lighthouse, that's a possibility, or that the place just got abandoned after weird incidences happened. Either way, it's kind of a dare spot where people say, I dare you to go hang out to stay at the lighthouse all night or something like that. So it's typically a place that the more popular students would use as a dare, essentially. And as to why, I suspect this might have had something to do with Alice's disappearance. There are always popular mean girls in every community, and they are very common in the church.
Yeah, that works. That makes sense. I like it. And that leaves us with one more.
So the Callisto River State Park. I think the park itself is one of those that actually the rivers actually kind of converge into a bay that is also part of the park, and it's kind of directly across actually from the old lighthouse. And it used to kind of be kind of like a little a gem kind of point in the city that brought in a lot of tourist attraction. But since the old lighthouse has become abandoned, it's kind of marred the whole image of everything a little bit. So it's sort of dried up as a big touristy spot. And with all of the kind of strange things that go on, like I'd probably see it probably leads off into a forest where the streams actually go up into, and that forest, like I would imagine it being on like the edge of the old barn at some point. So this park kind of like it wraps around the town. So there's lots of word of mouth with some of the more illicit and some of the stranger things that go on in the area, that the woods themselves might actually act as kind of like a transient pathway for some of this kind of activity, and that you might have either criminals or possibly even monsters or what have you out in those woods that makes people just generally nervous about it these days. And I think everyone kind of ends up having to go be around it to some degree. So it's one of those places that I see it as being a potential spot for something to in relation to Alice, because basically everything kind of potentially goes through there. So it's basically the standout suspect location within the city where something bad may have happened.
I think that makes sense. I think that works, as even if she didn't necessarily get taken from there, that might have been where she ended up, something like that. Sounds good. So, and next up, we're going to do the same kind of thing with our 5 suspects. So we've got David Nelson, the popular kid, Ryan Groggins, the ex-boyfriend, Mr. Halvert, the history teacher, Bria Brown, the bully, and CJ Wallace, the creeper. So if someone else wants to take first pick this round, feel free.
Can I get in on the ex-boyfriend action there?
Go for it.
All right. So as I said earlier, about 3 weeks or so ago, I actually got suspended from school for a week for fighting. And the person I was fighting with was actually Ryan. But the reason for this is not what everyone would know. The only person that would know the real reason would be Alice. Ryan and Alice were dating, but the thing is they were dating as a cover, because actually Ryan and I have been dating for about 3 years. The thing is that Ryan, to everyone else, he is like, he's the quarterback of the football team. He is generally a bit of a braggadocious douchebag as far as things go. But, that's the side that everyone else sees about him. The side that I see about him is like this kind of like really sensitive person that actually does know how to get good grades and actually is generally a smart person and is actually a really talented athlete. And Ryan and I were having these conversations about my plans that, I'm wanting to move out of state for college next year. And, he's got a good chance of a scholarship at the same college that I wanted to go to, but he's had been sort of determined to like stay in town because he really just wants to take over his dad's bike shop. Maintaining motorcycles and such like that. And I've been trying to push him. And then one day during class, again, this was about 3 weeks ago, we had sort of in the hallways a bit of a quiet argument that turned into a full-on fist fight. Which is fine. We can both take it and everything. But Alice was there and a couple of people were there. And Alice, because of her position in teams and everything, she managed to make it look like that this was Jack starting some bullshit, and she officially broke up with him in front of everybody. So since then, it's been a bit of a nightmare for me because it seems like Ryan and I actually broke up as well. So I don't know what's going on there. I haven't really been hearing from him, but I get dirty looks from him all the time in class. And I'm kind of worried because even though I was suspended for just a week, he was suspended for 2 weeks because they thought that, he was the cause of the fight and everything. And he's also had to take a season off of the playing football. This is one of the terms of his suspension. So he might have good cause to be super angry at either myself and maybe wants to take it out on Alice or just on Alice.
I like that a lot. That's some fun stuff.
It is delightful. I love it.
Love the drama. Any drama, we all just jump right on it. Anybody want to grab one next?
Oh, I got some drama for you.
Here we go.
Bria Ballbuster Brown. Man, the bully. So here's the thing about Bria. She used to be the captain of the basketball team. And you think that Alice was tough? Alice is tough. But Bria, she was like verbally abusive. She actually got kicked off the team, off of being captain of the team, because not only did she push an opponent at a game, she pushed one of our own players and literally smacked her across the face. Like at the end of the game, she was so pissed. She took a smack at her, but everyone was still there. Everyone saw this. So yeah, Bria got her butt kicked off the basketball team, and guess who got to be captain, and guess who got to be co-captain, and guess who has sour grapes? Ms. Bria. And she's spreading rumors all over the place about how terrible we are and how we're not going to win nationals. Like, we're totally up in the rankings, but she's just bad-mouthing us the entire time, trying to go back and re-bully players, trying to break them down because she doesn't want it to look like we can win without her. But we can totally win without her. You guys see Bria come and walk the other way. She's a bag full of lies.
I like it. Sounds good. I think I will go ahead and jump on Mr. Halvert, the history teacher. I think Mr. Halvert is a big fan of the girls' basketball program to an extent that is concerning, to an extent that is weird, especially since it seems kind of new. He's never been super into, or no, I think he's sort of new, which makes it even weirder. He moved a few years ago to Silent Falls from, let's say, I don't know, Texas. And he's older, but like has transferred to working at Franklin Academy, and came and started being a big fan of the team right around Dakota and Alice's freshman year, as they were joining. Like, they both made varsity freshman year, and it was a big deal. And so it's gotten weirder. He's always there, and like I'm away in Colorado with my mom, but I've gotten texts from Alice like about how after practice at night he'll come up and tell her, "Oh, you look so good at practice," and she's like, these are close practices, like, this is weird. Things like that. Like, she'll text me occasionally, and he just gives me really bad vibes. I am not a fan of Mr. Halvert, and it's creepy enough that I think maybe he had something to do with this. Who's up?
I'll grab CJ Wallace, aka the Creeper. He's kind of the small town neighborhood weirdo. The one who, like, nobody really knows what he does. You don't really see him around all that much, but I know what light off of a camera lens or a binocular lens looks like. And people don't really notice me all that much since I'm just the photographer. I'm just the one there in the background. But I've seen I've seen him watching. I don't know what he's watching for, but I don't like it.
And since you would, I guess, be around Alice a fair amount, it would make sense that you would suspect maybe he's looking at Alice if you're seeing him a lot.
Oh yes, I mean, if I'm doing yearbook and whatnot, I'm around with my camera in the background, and you notice things.
Sounds good. And that leaves one more.
David Nelson, the popular kid. So yeah, I mean, he is kind of like the quintessential popular kid. But the thing about it is nobody is really sure why specifically, because he's not involved in any of the sports teams. He's not involved in any of like the school clubs, but he's just that guy that for some reason everybody just seems to click with him, and it seems to be across like all the various subcultural groups within the high school. However, I think that at this point, Evan would be a little suspicious of David because he realizes that David is one of those people that basically no one knows anything about. Part of how he makes you feel so good is that the focus is all about you all the time, as though he's constantly gathering information on people and trying to understand how they tick or maybe uncover things that they don't want uncovered. Um, he's very, very nosy.
And would you say he's taken maybe a special interest in Alice recently, maybe?
I wouldn't say that he's taken a noticeable interest in Alice, but just knowing that he's been taking a read on everyone in town in general, like it seems like if someone was going to get away with something shady, he'd be the one that would have figured out how to do it at this point because he knows a lot of the secrets. He knows just about everything about everyone. And at the same time, no one really knows anything about him more than his name, his age, and the grade that he's in.
Sounds good. So now that we've got all of our locations and suspects sort of laid out and discussed, I am going to recall those cards from y'all's hands so that we have them for the game. Recall all and recall all. And shuffle these decks real quick. Okay, and now I'm going to move us over onto the clues setup page. Okay, so the way that this game operates and the way that it moves forward, it's a 90-minute game on a timer. This game will last 90 minutes, and after that, we're done. We leave these characters behind. And the way that the plot moves along is through these clue cards. So we're each going to take a card on the top row and the card right beneath it. So I'm going to take 90-minute card and 45-minute card because the 90-minute card is for the facilitator specifically. So if everybody could take 2 cards.
I will grab the. Am I muted?
No, you're
here.
Okay, I will grab the 60 and 30.
If no one objects, I'll take the 70 and 35.
I'm willing to take the leftovers, so whatever you want, Adrian.
Okay, I'll take 50 and 20.
Sounds good. I'll take the 80 and 40.
Lovely. And so I will move us over onto our gameplay page, which is where we will be for the actual game. So we're going to very quickly go over how these cards work. So for example, I'm going to pull an 80-minute card that is not the card that is in the game. So right here is an 80-minute card. I will take it into my hand and view it. Nope, wrong card. There we go. Roll20 can be fun. So the 80-minute card says, reveal a suspect card. This person just posted something suspicious involving Alice to their social media account. What did they post and why does it not sit right with you? So I, having drawn this card, am going to pull a suspect card out of this deck on the right-hand side. Can everyone practice pulling a card, pulling a suspect or location card and putting it on the board just so that we have that set up? So while everybody is doing that, I pulled CJ Wallace the Creeper. So I would say, I would go into the chat, one of the chats, probably the group chat, and say, this is weird. CJ Wallace, I don't know what his Facebook is or if he has one, but I can see him in the background of this photo that someone just posted of Alice. Like, that's really weird. And that would move the plot of the game along. So this card would be drawn when the timer, which counts down from 90, hits 80, so 10 minutes into the game. So players, please take note of the minutes you have and keep an eye on the timer and be ready. So for instance, I have the 90 and 45-minute cards. So I am going to keep an eye on the clock and at the beginning of the game, and then when the timer hits 45 minutes, I am going to flip my card, put a suspect on the table, and introduce that information into the game. So I will recall this and recall these. So just as you've done, when you draw a suspect card, put it on the table and we will all be able to see it. Who has the 30 and 20-minute cards?
I have the 30.
I have the 20.
Okay, so you guys are going to have a special situation in which your card will tell you to shuffle the cards on the table of either the location and suspect cards and draw one. That will be the culprit and the location at which Alice is located. So you can do this either by flipping all of the cards, taking your cursor and literally shuffling them and then flipping one over. Or what I tend to do is I will pull up a random number generator. And like if there are 3 cards on the table, do between 1 and 3 and random generate which card is going to be the culprit. So do you guys have a decent handle on that?
Should be fine.
Awesome. So that is why it's important to, when you have your clue card and it says to reveal a suspect card or a location card, to put that card on the table. Because these cards are going to be more likely then to be the final culprit and location. So that is how that mechanic of the game works. Last kind of card to discuss right here is this 10-minute card. So the 10-minute card is already on the table here, meaning that Alice's fate is already decided. We just don't know what the deal with it is. One of you at some point, your clue card will say to hand the 10-minute card to a specific person, to a person who does a specific thing. So if you have that card and that scenario comes up, message in parentheses in the main chat at that person, take the 10-minute card. So if I got that card and someone else did an action that triggered it, say take the 10-minute card. If you get the 10-minute card, do not flip it until you hit 10 minutes. You might get it at minute 18. Don't flip it and do what it says until we hit 10 minutes. If that makes sense to everybody.
I have a question. When we take the 10-minute card, we do not take it off the screen.
You do take it off the screen. You take it into your hand.
When it's in your hand, it is still face down?
Yes. Essentially, the hands in your card, well, the cards they are like facing you, but they're small enough that you shouldn't be able to read them. So when you are supposed to flip over the card, click on it and make it bigger and read it. So just try to avoid reading those cards beforehand.
All right. And our timed cards, we do not put back on the screen. We just read what we're supposed to do and do the instruction.
Correct.
Okay.
So that is, there actually is one more kind of card that I left for last because it is, in a lot of ways, the least important deck of cards in the game. It's fully optional, but it is here to help us in roleplay scenarios. So I have just added to the screen the searching cards deck. Essentially, the way that these cards work is in the game, we can go anywhere we want to. If I say, I'm going to go bike over to the state park, then that is what happens within the game. And so if you get to a location and you're like, I'm not sure what to do now, I'm not like, the plot isn't really moving along, I don't know what I should find here or what's going on, you can draw a searching card. So for example, this card is $10,000 in a duffel bag. You can tell by this card that these are really dramatic incidents to have happen in a game. We don't want to be pulling searching cards every 2 minutes because it will get really confused as to what the heck is going on. But say I drew that $10,000 in a duffel bag card, having gone to the state park, I would say in the group chat, guys, I just found this. Does it have something to do with Alice? Like, we would try to work that out together and figure out what the deal there was. So that is, I believe, all of our basic rules. Before I go and read the game guide, which will have some last minute reminders of how gameplay itself works. Does anybody have any questions?
No, I think we're good.
Awesome. So I'm going to read out the game guide for us real quick, and then we are going to take a break and then get started with our actual game. So I will do that now. Okay. Today is Saturday, the first day of winter break. Everybody except Charlie starts the game knowing that Alice was last seen on Wednesday, 3 days ago. Players can use parentheses to communicate anything out of character during the game. So if you need to, I might use parentheses to remind you guys if someone forgets a clue card, that it's their turn to do a clue card. I might message you in parentheses and say, hey, 90-minute or 70-minute card time. And also at any point you can message each other in parentheses if there's confusion over something. If somebody says something you want removed from the game, you can simply reply with an X or an X semicolon whatever content to signify that it has been X-carded. It's okay to have moments where nothing happens. Silence can and will occur during the game. When the group chat goes quiet, consider initiating private conversations with other characters. Two characters can never be in the same place at once. If they would be, create a reason in the narrative for them to never meet. This is an important one because if we don't do this, then there's no reason for us to be texting and things get really confusing. I've forgotten to give this reminder before and it leads to a very chaotic game. It is okay to take several minutes to answer your clue card. Try to share it before the next clue card is turned over. If you can't, just convey it at the next opportune moment. Make sure to tell everyone the information from your clue card. The answer to the clue card question will determine how the game's narrative evolves. After these 90 minutes, we will be leaving our characters behind forever. Because of this, you'll want to find a way to reveal your secret to at least one other person, if not the whole group, by the end of the game. You should investigate and speculate based on the clues you receive, but you will not find the information that actually leads you to Alice until you hit a certain clue card trigger. You won't find Alice's cell phone or car unless you draw a card stating that you found it. Other than that, we have full freedom to do what we need to do and find what we want to find. Leave the suspect and location cards you reveal face up by their respective decks, as we have discussed. This right here is a big one. If for any reason your character is hurt or killed and can't text for the rest of the game, you can give anyone heading to your location information about what state they find you in using a direct message. If this comes up in play, the card that triggered it will tell you what to do. So it is possible for your characters who get injured or die. So keep that in mind. It is possible. If it happens, it won't happen early in the game. You won't get hit by a 70-minute clue card that triggers your death and be sitting there for 70 minutes. But it is possible for something bad to happen to your character. And last thing, when the timer hits 0, players may write one last in-character message before the game ends. So there will be a timer that dings at the end of the soundtrack that will mark the end of the game. You can send one more message in chat, and then we will move to debrief and discussion. So now that I've read over that, anybody have any questions? Awesome. Then we're going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break. We are going to go to the break screen, and everybody can feel free to grab water, go to the bathroom, do what you need to do, and then we will get into the actual game. Looking forward to it. Welcome back, everybody. My computer is suddenly trying to play music at me. There we go. Bad timing on my computer's part. So we're about to jump into our actual gameplay of Alice is Missing. Before we get started, want to give a huge shout out to JB Jara, who is the technical director and setting everything up behind the scenes, multiple windows, multiple tabs open on everybody's computers. It really is an impressive setup. So big thanks to JB for that. And thanks to Hunters for having us here in the first place. It should be a good time. Also, if you are currently watching on a phone, it might behoove you to switch over to watching on a laptop, as we will be texting each other and the screens are pretty small. So if you can watch on a bigger screen, all the better to watch and get the full experience. One other thing is that it can be really difficult to follow everyone's screens and what's going on with everyone's conversations. It might be easier if you would like to choose one or two people to follow, and you can go back and watch the VOD later and see what everyone else is messaging about. But focusing in on one and two people can be really helpful. So without further ado, we're going to jump on in. We're all going to start the soundtrack at the same time. And worth noting, we will not start texting until after the first song. So I will send out a message once the second song on the wonderful soundtrack curated by the game writer Spencer Stark. It is amazing. Once the second song on the soundtrack begins, I will send out a message that will get us started. So we're all going to hit play. I am going to count us down. 3, 2, 1, go. Not now, but that's what I will do. It'll be 3, 2, 1, go, not 3, 2, 1. So we're all going to hit our buttons at the same time, and then we will get started. Anybody have any last words before we get started? Okay. Then let's do it. 3, 2, 1, play. See you on the other side.
went down to that river, washed my sins away. And praying, 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 praying for another day. I went down to that river, washed my sins for free. The devil's on the other bank, staring back at me. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man. Another nail in my coffin, another nail for me. I gotta look pretty when I go down. Another nail in my coffin, can't you spare one more? I gotta look pretty when I'm knocking down heaven's door. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man. Light my cigarette. You ever seen a dead man talking? No, you haven't seen one yet. I'm a dead man walking. 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 I'm a dead man. I went down to that river, washed my sins for free. No one seemed to notice as I stared. I went down to that river to wash my sins away. I was thinking of you in that wedding gown. I went down to that water, I washed my sins away. The world faded away as I went down, 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 down. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man walking. I'm a dead man.
We are back. Thanks for sticking with us through those technical difficulties there. We are starting the timer at 44:11. So we're just going to jump right back into it in 3, 2, 1, play.
Hi, it's Evan. How are you doing? Oh, oh God, that's just stupid. This is a voicemail. I'm sorry. Um, well, I was hoping to talk to you, but it's 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 probably better that I got your voicemail anyway. I don't know. I'm really nervous, and well, anyway, I was hoping that maybe this weekend you and I might be able to catch a movie together. It it seems like that would be really nice. I understand if you can't. You're usually really busy, but I think it would just be really fun to spend some time with you, you know. All right. Well, I'm sorry I didn't get a hold of you, but call me soon. Let me know what you think.
Hey sis, it's me. Man, I gotta tell you, it's not real good today. No, I thought I'd be over this by now, but man, it just keeps getting worse. I think I might need to take a breather this weekend. Okay, you could cover me. I don't know, say that I'm helping tutor some folks or something. I feel real stupid about this whole thing. But, it is what it is, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm just taking a quick breather. I'll be home soon, okay? Tell Mom and Dad not to worry. Yeah, just let me know when you get this message, sis. Love you. Bye.
Hey Alice, it's me, Julia. I hope you're doing okay. I haven't heard from you in a few days. I hope finals weren't too bad, at least. And, well, I hope your parents aren't giving you too much pressure with the church and all that. Sebastian really misses you. Hey, call me back when you get some time, okay? Maybe we can go, I don't know, hang out somewhere after all the Christmas chaos dies down a bit. Get some time alone. Hope you're alright. Just call me back, okay?
Hey Al, it's Dakota. Of course you know it's Dakota. I called you. Oh shit! I shouldn't have called. Hope your phone didn't ring. I think I might still be a little high. If Coach finds out what we've been up to, we are in so much trouble. Oh yeah, did we screw up? Nah, like we didn't screw up. It's fine. I'm sure it's fine. Al, text me when you get in. Don't call me. Maybe I should turn off my phone. Yeah, I'll turn off my phone. I am definitely still a little high. Whatever. I will see you at practice. Go Falcons!
Hey Alice, it's Charlie. Having a little bit of trouble getting a hold of you over text, so just wanted to call and make sure you knew I'm at the airport right now and headed back to Silent Falls. Looking forward to a good winter break and seeing you again. I miss you and everybody else. So hope you're doing well. Bye. Okay, so we're gonna move on to debrief. How's everybody feeling? First and foremost, how we doing?
Relieved that she's alive.
Super relieved.
Yeah,
I'm
we got
really-
the good ending. I think that might be one of the first times on this channel that we've had Alice actually came out of it.
Just this once. Everybody lives.
I've actually, let's see if I can show. I had to, it was flip a coin, but I didn't have a coin, so I rolled a d20. It was 1 through 10. Charlie dies. 11 through 20. Charlie lives. And well, it's gone now. I rolled a 16, so it was, yeah. That roll on the floor just now was a 6, so yay for that not being the deciding roll.
My hands are shaking too hard because mine had heads, you get away from him without a fight. Tails, you do. And I had to flip 3 times and it was 3 heads, and I was like, okay, the coin has decreed.
I was really worried that Julie was going to die.
Me too.
So we're gonna move down the debrief card together and just take a moment to sit with each other and relax and let the emotions go a little bit. So are there any loose ends in the narrative that we need to tie up? Anybody have questions? I know my main one is what was with the fire at the state park, and my thought is that it was an intentional distraction, maybe. That like CJ knew that somebody was closing in on him, and so he either set a fire or had a fire set as a distraction. But if anyone else has ideas.
That's sort of what I was thinking as well. I don't know. I don't know. Did that come up in someone's card? Like who got the card that, oh, that the park's on fire?
Yeah, the card was just draw a card, that place is on fire. What's suspicious about the fire?
Oh, no.
I love the way the mechanics of this game work. It's so good.
Well, it was freaking suspicious. It held me up, that's for sure.
For sure. Yeah, I did draw like during the game 2 of those other cards, just for those support cards or whatever they're called. And I think that sort of played in pretty nicely with a few things, like I got you think you're being followed, and now in headcanon was probably just Wallace.
Wallace. Just the kidnapper creep.
Wallace.
Just Wallace, just the kidnapper creep. I also got a creepy mask left behind, which you know, I guess maybe he used it when he kidnapped her. Who knows?
Anybody else have loose ends?
I do have a question. So was the idea that Alice's car was a bit wrecked or something, or that just there was like drug paraphernalia inside it?
So I was driving my car and the cops pulled me over. And when I demanded to speak to my parents, they're like, sure, while we search your car. And yeah, they may have found something that would have been problematic had they found it.
True. All right. Well, that definitely answers my question.
And to reassure the chat, yes, the cat is fine.
Thank God.
No harm to animals was involved.
Good clarification.
Oh yeah, for sure. Gotta know that Sebastian is safe. So the next 2 questions we're gonna do together. They are, what is one thing that you would like to take with you from your character? And what is one thing about your character that you would like to leave behind? Would anyone like to go first?
Yeah, sure. So for Evan, I think the way that he ended up playing out over the course of this one, what I really liked about him that I wouldn't mind keeping is just his overall level of curiosity about things. So he was wanting to constantly find out any information that he could. However, he was excessively paranoid about everything because he was wanting desperately to be able to blame somebody for what was happening with the whole situation with Alice. And so anytime somebody became even remotely suspicious, he started leaning very hard into that, and that paranoia kind of took over him. And that's something that I'm going to be very happy to just let go of and leave behind.
That's a good one. I think from Jack, I think what I'd like to let go of is definitely his obsessive idea of excellence to the point of not noticing people around him who are very close to him. In his mind, he was always still the one protecting his little sister, but he had no idea she had a girlfriend because she was the one essentially playing the beard for him. You know what I mean? She had no idea that her sister was, occasionally doing drugs because he kept on dumping all this baggage on her, thinking nothing of it. So, yeah, and definitely something that I want to keep with me is just that his realization at the end that some people actually aren't worth it. And sometimes you should listen to those around you when when the people are telling you that somebody's an asshole and you deserve better. Because I know there's been a problem in my own life. So just realizing that honestly, the nice guys are probably the ones who are going to make you happy at the end of the day. That's a big one I'd like to keep from Jack.
Wise lesson.
Yeah, I think one of the things I really like about Dakota is that she is fiercely loyal. She's fiercely loyal to her friends. She'll do whatever it takes to stand up for them. But that also means what I would love to leave behind is that she's making some risky choices. And she's also kind of pushing for that perfection. And she's, relieving that stress in ways that maybe aren't so healthy. So that's something I think I'd probably leave behind. But her devotion to her friends, I think that's something to hold on to.
For Julia, what I would like to leave behind is that fear, and however justified it might have been in this context with not very accepting parents, it's something that I would like to let go of and release that back, so to speak, that you're okay, you're not broken, you're valid. And as far as keeping things goes, I want to keep that sense of loyalty that she had to not only her girlfriend, but to the other folks who she knew that had secrets that I was not expecting Jack to come out with that in the last few minutes, but I suspected it. Like I suspected it was going to come out, but it was like, no, this is not my secret to tell. If he says it, I'll back him up, I'll support him, but yeah.
With Charlie, I think I would like to keep her sort of sense of friendship, like the fact that she's gone off to Colorado and she still keeps in touch with these people, and these people are really meaningful to her. As someone in college, it's definitely something I can sort of understand and relate to, and it can be hard to keep those relationships strong. Something I would want to let go of is her for someone who's really like naturey and laid back and a bit hippy dippy, she definitely had like a need to be in control that I would like to let go of. A need to have control over every situation and be the one to figure out like what's going on, and to know, which in this situation is kind of understandable, but generally is not. Anybody have any last comments they'd like to leave us off with?
Yeah, just in terms of like, I think really for Jack, that realization that all these people can be taken away from you in an instant was, and just like Jules's affirmation to him, like in the text message, was really like that push of support is so important to people. You know, it's so important to people, and it felt really good uh, for him to get all that off of his chest. Is like, I can't keep doing this to myself, and I can't keep doing this to the people that I love. It's not fair. It's gotta stop today, because literally my sister could have died. You know.
What was surprising to me was everyone's forgiveness, right? Like I could have told everyone the last time I saw Alice and maybe given somebody a clue, but because I thought I was, protecting her, I thought that, you know, maybe I was going to get in trouble. Like I was afraid. And, somebody must have seen her after that. I mean, I can't be the last, but that everyone kind of forgave Dakota and was like, look, we're just going to find her. We're just going to do this. Like, it's not your fault. That was actually really touching. That surprised me that somebody just didn't read me out for you completely for kind of holding back that information. So that was kind of a surprise, and it kind of felt great. Like I felt like I had friends.
Well, on that lovely note, I think we are going to say goodnight. Thank you so much for sticking with us through technical difficulties and emotional trauma. Everyone, please have a relaxing night. Make yourself some tea. It's always a wild ride watching and playing Alice is Missing. Thanks to JB Jara again for technical directing. Thanks to Spencer Stark for an amazing game that I love half to death. And have a good night, everybody.